Then guys, it's day 2, it's time for another Cloudmd video, and the simple reason is because there's some important news I think that you need to know regarding this market sector as a whole. So yeah, I think this will definitely affect this stock in the future, whether it's good or bad, and depending on what the results of what I'm going to talk about tonight are. But yeah, I think you're going to find a lot of what I'm going to say in this episode very, very useful. And if you think that you will, honestly I do think that you will, by the way, please do subscribe. We are trying to get to that 1,000 goals, so if every single person, and I mean it, every single person who watches this video, if you could just please subscribe, I would appreciate it so much, and you'd be helping us out. And on top of that, we do now have our Discord server where we talk about stocks, so feel free to head on over there, link is in the description. So yeah, let's jump in. So if you have a quick look on our screen right now, we're looking at the price of this stock over the past few months. So actually, towards about, I'm going to call it the 22nd, maybe the 21st of the 21st of October this year, we saw all-time highs for the stock at $2.43. We saw a huge gain. I think it was over 100%. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, but either way, if you look at the graph, we can just see we saw a huge gain for a very long period. We're looking at from about July the 24th all the way to, like I said, late October. So obviously that's quite the growth period indeed, and it was quite the growth percentage. We were on about 44 cents at this point, and then we went up to $2, almost 44 cents. So we've made $2 and obviously increased the share price massively up until now. However, from the past few months, we have actually seen the stock price go down. I think most notably over the last 1 month, that's when we've seen the biggest decline. We went from highs this month of $2.58 and then went all the way down to $1.68. So what has gone wrong? And I think this is a potentially very important piece of information which I need to share with you, as you know, it will put a lot of things into perspective and make a lot of things make sense as well. So first things first, I need to know I am not a financial advisor. Second thing, none of the stuff which I have said in this video is proven yet, and this is just my opinion, but the whole idea is obviously I'm sharing some information which may be crucial in a few weeks and months time, definitely, for obvious reasons which you'll find out about in a minute. And the unfortunate fact is the telehealth sector, which is where this stock operates, has done amazingly well for one sad reason, and that is because of the pandemic. Now, obviously every single person on this planet knows about the pandemic, whether it's a lockdown or somebody that has died, unfortunately, everybody has been affected by it in some way. So, it's one of those things which has kind of accelerated the market sector indeed. I'm going to have a quick look over to the telehealth graph, and we're going to refer back to this one in a little bit. But yeah, I think that from what we were looking at from a perspective, expected for the past year, for this year basically, we were looking at a steady growth in the sector in general, but I think with everything that's happened, we have probably seen a growth more like one of these future years, as a lot of people have jumped online. So of course that has accelerated the market past where it probably should have been if it wasn't for this factor. Of course, this is a time where a lot of companies have done well and a lot of companies have not done well, but of course this one has done well, but it is important to consider the latest news about some vaccines. Now, this is obviously not the first vaccine that we have seen. We've got about 2 or 3 which are apparently coming out, and I have to press OK to this. But yeah, we're going to look on this Telegraph article, and this is the one talking about the Pfizer vaccine. Now, this one's apparently 95% effective. There are a lot of other vaccines out there. Obviously, we're not going to talk about those too much. It doesn't really matter what efficacy it is. I mean, it kind of does. But basically, once a vaccine does get approved, we're looking at things potentially going back to normal. And I think it's very important to consider that when we are looking at the stock price. Now, don't get me wrong, don't click off the video now. There is still a lot of room for growth, which is something I'm about to talk about in just a moment, but I think it's very important to consider where we are lying with this stock at the minute. So, obviously going on that news, particularly that news being as that's more recent, I would say this whole sector, yes, it is going to grow, but I think if you're buying in now, you really are buying in at an overpriced point, because yes, this stock is a good stock, let's not lie. The whole business model is a perfect business model. We've talked about that countless times in the past. The finance of the company look decent. We talked about that last night, I believe. But yeah, with the whole vaccine thing, I think we are probably going to see this stock price sink for the next few months. I would hope that we're not going to see it go back down to, a few cents below a dollar, but I do think it's going to be a case of, people have started to recognize this company. The brand's name is kind of out there in the stock world. If you go into YouTube, you will find a few other channels talking about it. So I don't think it's going to go that low again, but I do think we are going to see it decrease, unfortunately, for the few months coming up as we do get back to normal. Now, yes, that's a few months into the future. So let's say the stock price levels out, for example, obviously just an example, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're just going to say it will level out at exactly a dollar, okay? So that doesn't mean that the company won't grow. This will just put us back on the expected level for 2021, if we do get back to normal in 2021, that is. Obviously, what that means is we'll see the slow growth. Well, it's actually quite a decent growth. We'll see a big growth for the next few years in the sector steadily, rather than this huge increase which we have seen. So it's very sad to say that this company's growth may be coming to an end for a short while, but looking into the long-term picture, I definitely see this one growing a lot from where we are at now, because the potential of this model is just great. There's so many things that you can do with it, and it's beneficial to all sides. So yes, I am a big fan of the company, but you've got to see a good deal when you're getting one, and you've got to see a potentially bad deal when you're getting one. In my personal opinion, nothing but my opinion, like I've said, it just does not make sense at the minute, because I think a lot of the reason behind it was people, perhaps whether they were doing it as a trade for as long as the pandemic and lockdowns last, or perhaps they were doing it just because they see potential in the company. But I think a lot of people were banking on the coronavirus pandemic to use this time to increase the price for this company, as people will be using the service more. That is definitely true, but there is still a sector for people going in to see their doctors in person, and I think unfortunately that is going to force the price down a little bit. So I'm very sorry to bring that bad news, but I thought it was important to share it with you. Anyway, come and tell me what you think on Discord, and remember to leave a like and subscribe. Of course, we are trying to get to 1,000, so every one would help. Also, I'm going to put some videos on screen now, so feel free to come and watch any of those, and I will see you over on there. So thank you for your time. Goodbye.